Welcome to this video where we dive into the fundamental decision at the heart of every supply chain: push and pull. They are the two foundational approaches to managing how products flow from raw materials all the way to the end consumer. And getting this right is absolutely critical for your bottom line. Because choosing the wrong flow strategy for your business model can lead to some pretty disastrous extremes. Will you lock up millions of dollars in obsolete inventory just because you guessed wrong about what people wanted? Or, on the flip side, will you leave your customers waiting so long for their orders that they just go to a competitor? Today, we are building a decision framework to make sure you get it exactly right. But before we break down this framework, subscribe to the channel now to ensure you are not missing on our new knowledge content on supply chain and operations. Okay, here is our roadmap for today. 1. The supply chain dilemma. 2. Push versus pull systems. 3. The decoupling point. 4. Fisher's decision matrix. 5. The hybrid strategy. And finally, making your choice. Let's jump right into part 1, the supply chain dilemma: anticipation versus response. At the absolute heart of every supply chain is this one crucial question: when exactly should you trigger an activity? Do you do it in anticipation of demand or in response to it? Do you push products to a grocery store retail shelf so they are just waiting for a buyer? Or do you act like a custom furniture maker, where absolutely nothing is built until the customer order actually arrives? That right there is the core dilemma of anticipation versus response. Which brings us to part 2, push versus pull systems. Let's define the extremes. All right, so in a push system, which is basically a make-to-stock approach, you're driven entirely by long-term forecasts. You're building products based on historical data, and you push them down the chain so they're ready the moment a customer wants them. On the other hand, a pull system is a make-to-order approach. This is driven by actual confirmed customer demand. In a pure pull system, literally nothing happens until a customer order comes in and essentially pulls that product through the process. Let's ground this with some real-time examples. Think of a classic Coke already waiting for you on a grocery shelf. That is a pure push system. They manufactured and shipped it way before you even got thirsty. But think about a custom-built piece of furniture or high-end fashion apparel where the trends are incredibly unpredictable. Those operate on a pull system. The manufacturer isn't going to cut that wood or sew that specific garment until you actually place the order. Why? Because the risk of guessing wrong is just way too high. Let's move to part 3, the decoupling point. We are looking for the supply chain boundary. The real secret here is identifying what we call the customer order decoupling point, or CODP. It's a bit of a mouthful, but it's basically the exact boundary in your process where the supply chain shifts from being push-based to pull-based. And its location? It directly determines your operational success. Think of it like this. Upstream of this boundary, activities are performed based on forecasts. That's your push. But downstream of that boundary, activities are triggered by a specific customer order. That's your pull. For a grocery store, that boundary is the retail shelf itself. But for our custom furniture maker, that boundary is all the way back at the raw material stage. Okay, part 4, Fisher's decision matrix: how to match your strategy to your specific product. So how do you actually choose? Well, according to Fisher's model, your optimal strategy depends entirely on the nature of your product's demand. It categorizes products into 2 main types: functional and innovative. And then it matches them to either an efficient or a responsive supply chain. Let's break down exactly what that means. Functional products are your everyday staples, like flour or that classic Coke. They have highly predictable demand, long life cycles of over 2 years, and low profit margins. Because the demand is so stable, they belong right in the push zone. You need an efficient push strategy to maintain scale and keep those costs rock bottom. Now, innovative products are highly trendy items, like fast fashion or high-end electronics. They have totally unpredictable demand, short life cycles of maybe 3 months to a year, but they have high profit margins. These belong strictly in the pull zone. They require a highly responsive pull strategy because the risk of holding obsolete, unsold inventory is extremely dangerous. Moving to part 5, the hybrid strategy: the secret sauce of postponement. If you want the best of both worlds, leading companies use a hybrid strategy known as postponement. It's all about delaying differentiation until the absolute last moment. In phase 1, companies push generic, undifferentiated components through the chain. It's highly efficient. Then, in phase 2, they delay the final differentiation until they can pull the exact finished goods based on real-time sales. A perfect real-time example of this is Zara. They will mass produce and push generic, undyed fabric through their supply chain, but they postpone actually dyeing the fabric until they see which colors are trending in their stores that exact week. Only then do they pull the final customization. It's incredibly smart. Finally, part 6, making your choice. Let's look at the strategic trade-offs to consider. You've got to carefully weigh these trade-offs. Let's look at inventory risk first. Push systems carry the risk of excessive inventory and high holding costs if your forecasts miss the mark. Pull systems minimize that inventory risk, but introduce the risk of lost sales if you just can't react to a demand spike fast enough. Then there's lead times. Push gives your customer instant fulfillment. It's right there on the shelf. Pull inherently means longer fulfillment wait times while the product is being made. And lastly, costs. Push leverages massive economies of scale in manufacturing. Pull systems, however, often faced higher per unit costs and expedited shipping fees because you're making smaller batches on demand. By identifying your product type and clearly defining that decoupling point boundary, you can align your operations to be the lowest cost provider or the absolute most responsive player in your specific market. It all comes down to knowing what you sell and exactly how your customer buys. So I want to leave you with this final question to think about today. Which strategy does your company run right now? Is it push, pull, or hybrid?